Main. Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour. Why do I look so yellow, Liam? I look very different. Just yeah. Okay. I look so like bright. Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour Damien. I've got to put my glasses on. Bonjour Anne, bonjour Glam, Elaine, Neil, bonjour Damien, bonjour Akubu, Lynn, bonjour everybody. It's so good to see you today. And bonjour Chris au Michigan. Bonjour Poucrave, bonne année à vous. And of course, bonne année, Happy New Year. Bonne année 2025, believe it or not, 2025 already. We've gone through a quarter of a century in the 21st century. That's crazy. Where has it been? You know, I can remember the 2000. Bonjour Alexa, j'espère que vous allez bien. Ça fait longtemps. Bonjour, Wossu Emmanuel. Ça fait un moment, en effet. In today's lesson, and I know this is open to all, this live is open to all. The live that I will do in 1 hour's time will be open only for my exclusive members. In the 2 lessons, anyway, we're revising tenses, so it's going to be a heavy one, okay? And today's tense, I've chosen l'imparfait, the imperfect tense. So we are going to see at what the imparfait is, okay? If you have any questions related to the imparfait, then put it on the chat, and my very useful producer, Liam, will forward the lesson, the question to us, and I will be able to answer. There you go, he's there, putting a smiley face. I really look washy-washy in that. I don't know. Or is it the background, the green background? I don't know what it is. Or the excessive amount of makeup I've just put on in order to do that lesson, which is a possibility. I'm glowing. Okay, that could be taken in so many different ways. I'm glowing. I'm not pregnant though. Le 21e siècle est intéressant. Démarrer la machine à remonter le temps. Poucrage, I agree. Shall we have a time machine? There is many things that I would do differently. Bonjour et bonne année. Douglas, bonjour à toi. Okay, on commence. Let's start. Yes, you're glowing beautifully. Or aging beautifully. Maybe that's what you mean. Maquillage, c'est éclatant naturel. Merci. Okay, right. You have to be with me in the studio when I put the makeup, and it's quite a session. It's like painting. It's like a painting, a portrait, you know, with a lot of foundation. Okay, we are going to start because I think we should. And I'm going to introduce you, or not introduce you, because this level is, I would say, of A2, B1 level. If you are a complete beginner, listen really, really carefully, because it's very relevant. If you learn new words, then so be it, okay? It's all about understanding how we form the imparfait in French. And you may think, well, what is the imparfait? Well, as you know, in French, we have many different tenses, okay? Let's call these sessions the Tense Club, number 1, because there is another one coming up as a closed live, exclusive live, and that's going to be even tougher. So that's a warm-up for what's coming up, okay? So here we go. We have here Sistine Alexa Chapel Rowan. What? Okay. Yeah. Are you identifying me as the Sistine Chapel? Okay. So I'm going to show you my screen. So I make myself very small now. There you go. Here we go. So can you see my screen? Can you hear me? Can you read everything on the screen? Okay. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to do this exercise, and I'm going to show you very quickly. Okay, but we are not doing it now. This is what I am going to ask you to do. Where you see the yellow verb, which are the infinitive of the verb, we're going to transform them into their imparfait form. Okay. We are not doing it now. I don't want anybody to do it now because we are going to run through what the imparfait is, okay? So to revise, okay. The imperfect, I'm going to use here a blank piece of paper, more or less black piece of paper, okay? The imperfect, okay, and this is where how we spell the imperfect, is a past tense, okay? So c'est un temps du passé. We have many past tenses, okay? One of which being the passé composé. So if we compare the imperfect to the passé composé, what is the difference? So I often do the timeline timeline exercise, okay? And by the way, if you are not sure about tenses and put in the timeline, my video on timeline has nearly 1 million views actually, which means that it's very useful to everybody. So you can see. Excellent. Thank you, Glory. So the imparfait, if we were to put it on the timeline, and if we say that this is the présent, okay, like let's see, I eat. Okay, I eat. Okay. In French, it would be je mange. Okay, but that's just to give you a point de départ, like we say in French. Okay. The timeline is everything, Pocratch. That's so right. Okay. So we go back in time. We are going to go back in time, okay? So if we go back in time and we say that this is the passé composé, the passé composé or past tense, okay, of to eat would be I ate, okay? Or I have eaten. But the imparfait is something different. The imparfait, okay, is an action that took place in the past and somehow carried on, okay, while the passé composé is an action that took place in the past but stopped at that moment, okay? So, I ate cheese last night, okay? But the imparfait would be I was eating. Okay? So I was eating cheese last night when something happened, when something interrupted that action. Okay? So it's I was eating, or the other way you could translate the imperfect in English would be I used to eat. I used to it. Okay? So, the imparfait is an action that took place in the past, somehow carried on, or is an action that you used to do. Okay? So that is, and I'm putting that into a timeline to show you, comparing to the passé composé, where we are in the timeline with the imparfait. Okay, so we're not looking at passé composé, which is an action that took place in the past and it's gone done with. What we are doing here is an action that used to be happening or was happening. Okay. For example, Pocratch, you're right, c'est quand le téléphone a sonné. Okay, so je mangeais. I was eating when the telephone rang, for example. Okay, so the action of the imparfait is the fact that I was eating. The action of the passé composé is suddenly the telephone rang. Okay, can you see the two? Can you understand the differences between the two? And we conjugate those two tenses very differently. Today, I'm showing you how to conjugate in the imparfait. Okay? So here we go. Just a quick recap. How do you form a imparfait? Okay, la formation de l'imparfait. How do you create the imperfect? And you've got to listen here because it's quite tricky. Okay, like in French, why would make things? Do you want to make things simple? When they can be complicated. Basically, that's French. We have complicated things big time, but there is a pattern to the imperfect. And this is what I want to show you today, okay? Now, what I want you to know is that for most verbs except for être, okay? For most verbs except for être, and we know that être is to be, yeah? For most verbs except for être, we use the nous form conjugated in the present tense. And we take off the ending and add these instead, okay? So what you need to know, forget about what I've just said, just for a second. The ending of the imperfect are as follow, okay? For je, which is the pronoun I, the ending would be AIS. This is the indicator for us, or for me, if you said to me, if you came up with a verb and ended it with AIS, it's the indicator that you are talking in the imperfect. You are saying to me, well, I used to do that, or I was doing that. Okay, that's a very important indicator. Now, for tu, the ending is the same as je, AIS, okay? So for you, AIS. Now, for il or elle or on, the ending is AIT. But the pronunciation is the same as for je and tu. So e. So that's a good thing with the imperfect ending is that when you speak, if you say we understand that this is in the imperfect tense. For nous, however, have a look at that. It's yon. Okay, so you add an I to the present ONS. Okay, for example, nous parlons, present tense. We are talking, but you want to put it in the imperfect. You say nous parlions. Okay, IEZ. IONS, sorry. The same goes for IEZ. Vous, you. Now remember, we have two ways of saying you in French. Tu, as in you, like the informal way of saying you, and also for a singular person, or vous, the formal way of saying you, but also for more than one people, okay? And for they, we have two ways of saying they, il and elle, okay, which is they, il for a group of boy, elle for a group of girl, and it works for objects as well, talking about, I don't know, pencils. We would say il, I-L-S, because the pencils are masculine. They're masculine words, okay? That's their gender. Okay, so that's, I'm trying to simplify things. Of course, we covered this in great detail in our course. You know, Learn French with Alexa is a very famous course where you actually learn all these grammatical points in way more details. Okay, so these are the endings. But how do you do that? For a group, for the first group verb, okay, we have three group verbs in French. Okay, we've got the regular endings, which we have here. I'm going to use red. So the ER endings, okay, these are verbs that are regular, which means that they are going to be quite easy. Once you understand the pattern, easy to conjugate, okay? You take one verb in ER as an example, the rest will follow. And the same goes with IR regular ending verbs. However, all other verbs, I will take, for example, the RE verbs, have a certain pattern to follow. And I'm afraid you will have to learn a lot of them by heart, okay? If you have any questions, okay, at that point you can ask me. Because in a minute we're going to do this exercise and there will be no time. Okay, so when you conjugate a verb in ER, okay, when I mean a verb in ER, I mean the infinitive verb. So, chanter, to sing. Okay, chanter, to sing. You take the nous form in the present tense, and that is going to be the stem of your imperfect start. Imperfect. Start of the imperfect. So, in French, the new form in the present tense of chanter is nous chantons. Okay? So, je chante, tu chantes, il chante, elle chante, on chante, nous chantons, vous chantez, il chante. Okay? So we've got chantons. Okay. So what you need to do here, you get rid of this ending. Okay? And what you have here is the beginning of the stem of the verb that you're going to use in the imperfect. And so what you need to do, you will have the beginning of that, and you will need to use those endings in order to talk in the past tense. Okay? For example, je chantais. We added AIS because we're using je. Okay? We're adding chante, which is the stem. We've established how to form that. And then add the right ending in the imperfect. And that means I used to sing or I was singing. Do you see what I'm doing here? I used to sing or I was singing. I'm doing the imperfect here. The same goes with tu. Tu chantais. I'm following the same endings. Il, elle, on chantait. Nous chantions, because the ending for the imperfect for nous is IONS. Vous chantiez. Il, elle, chantait. And by the way, A-I-E-N-T is pronounced E as well. Okay? E. Okay? Anglais n'est pas compliqué, c'est beaucoup mieux que le français. Il faut toujours conjuguer avant vous dites quelque chose. Okay, thank you for Cratch. Okay. So, the same goes for the IR. IR. Okay. For example, in the second group. Okay. The second group, infinitive, all the verbs end with IR, such as finir, to finish. What you need to know is what is the new version of finir in the present tense. It's nous finissons. And you may say to me, but hey, Alexa, I don't know that. Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. What I would suggest that you do is probably learn how to conjugate about 10 verbs in IR in the present tense. Okay, you'll find 10, and we've got an ebook which is a conjugation book where we conjugate a lot of verbs in different groups, and that's very useful too. But then again, you can find this information online, for free as well. So shouldn't say that because I'm trying to sell stuff. No, I'm not. Okay. And the same goes for ER verbs. Then your main ER verbs, such as manger, ou parler, ou marcher, ou demander, ou jouer, okay? The same goes with IR, like finir is one of the top IR verbs in the second group. So, when you conjugate finir in the present tense, nous finissons, okay? And look at the stem. Get rid of ONS because it's a present ending. Take finis as the stem, and that's the stem for your imperfect ending. And all you need to do now is add these imperfect endings. For example, je finissais. I used to finish. I was finishing. Tu finissais. Il, elle, on finissait. Nous finissions. Vous finissiez. Il, elle finissait. Okay? And we've got it. We've got that stem because we know how to conjugate finir in the present tense. Je finis, tu finis, il finit, elle finit, on finit. Nous finissons. Vous finissez, etc. Okay? Bonjour, Candy. So here we go. So we've got the understanding of how to form the stem and the imperfect tense in the first and second group. The most difficult one is going to be the third group because not only do we have our E ending groups, we've had OIR. We have IR as well that you can be confusing with the second group, okay? Again, I would suggest that you learn at least 10 or 15 verbs, top verbs such as être, to be, avoir, to have, faire, to do, aller, to go. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Vouloir, to want. Pouvoir, to be able to. Devoir, to must or must. Yeah. These verbs are really important. And so you need to learn how to conjugate them with the stem, the right stem, in the future tense, in the imperfect tense, and so on. So for prendre, for example, to take, prendre, to take, we need to know what is we take in present tense, yeah? And it's nous prenons. It's highly irregular verbs, okay? So, je prends, tu prends, il prend, elle prend, nous prenons, okay? So nous prenons, okay? So we've got prenons, nous prenons. We know that it's the present tense of to take, okay? So what we do, we get rid of ONS, but we take the stem, prenne, okay? And then we conjugate our imperfect tense of prendre, to take. So we want to say, I used to take or I was taking. How do we do that? Take the stem and add our special endings. Je prenais. I used to take. Tu prenais. Il, elle, on prenait. Nous prenions. And not nous prenons. Nous prenions. It's crazy, isn't it? That one little letter, such as I, makes a difference between the present and the imperfect tense. French people are crazy. They're really crazy. And then vous preniez, yeah, and elle prenait, okay. Akubu, Stephanie, this has never been easier until now. Oh, thank you. I hope that I'm making sense of it. You know, it's a complex tense, you know, and je prenais beaucoup de sucre dans mon thé. For example, Pokraj, that's a very good example. So, Pokraj sentence, what does it mean? Je prenais beaucoup de sucre dans mon thé. Or you could say, je mettais beaucoup de sucre dans mon thé. Okay? So if you look at this sentence, we have prenez, okay, which is to take, in the imperfect. I know it's the imperfect because the ending is there. Okay? And the stem is right. Okay? I used to take a lot of sugar in my tea. Okay? Mais maintenant, but now, je n'en prends plus. Ou je ne mets plus de sucre dans mon thé. Okay? Okay? I used to take a lot of sugar in my tea. Daniela, de glace. I used to take a lot of sugar in my tea. Well done. Now, Neil, you are an excellent I thought that was an example. Oh, thank you, Neil. Okay. But well done, Daniela. Well done, Douglas. Well done. So, here we go. So, we have here an understanding of how to form, and it's so simplistic at the moment, you know, but of course there is more to the imperfect, but I do that in such great length in my course. Okay, so we cover all these tenses, very, very intricate tenses in my video course. Okay. So, Pokraj, vous étiez un bon professeur. Thank you. So that means, Pokraj, I'm no longer a good teacher. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give you now some example. We will do as many as we can, 3, 4. The rest will be on the support guide that you can have if you are a member of the YouTube channel. You know, you can be a subscriber of the YouTube channel, but if you become a member, you can access all the backload of guides that are attached to these videos. Is that correct, Liam? Yeah, okay. I was like, I had to think for a minute, is this correct? I might just, you know, I've learned many things in 1 month from your video, but I have a problem in present tenses. Now, traveling the hell out. If you are a subscriber or if you are an customer of Learn French with Alexa, the website, let us know where you have a problem, because my content creators will be more than happy to help you with that. And if you have any suggestion for the lives that I can do something on present tense. You know, I'm happy to go down a bit at A1 level. Right, so we have here the first sentence. Can you put this sentence here in the imperfect? Now, I want you to say that, I want you to note something. Okay. Aller, though has ER at the end, is not a first group verb. It is the only exception we have in French whereby the verb ends with ER, but it's a third group verb. So here it is to teach you that the objective of that sentence is to teach you the stem of aller in the imperfect. So, come on. Petit, je allais souvent voir ma grand-mère le week-end. So what we want to say is petite, when I was small, yeah, that's petite, so it's going to be a used to, okay, or I was doing that. So I used to go. That's what we want to say. I used to go often to see my grandmother during the weekend. How do you say I used to go? Chris, j'allais. Sumera. Alors, Sumera, you can't say je allais, but you're very close. J'allais souvent voir ma grand-mère le week-end. It's correct. But we drop the E and we put an apostrophe because aller begins with a vowel. Okay, so j'allais. I always get stuck with speaking, for example, subjunctive of boh. Yes, past and future. Yeah, Palak, we do cover all these tenses in the course. Yeah, I cover them because I'm the one that speaks and teaches you in the video. So, here we go. The right answer is j'allais. Now, how did I do that? Well, I'm going to conjugate aller in the present tense first. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, nous allons. So I know that nous allons is the present tense. So we have the stem. Get rid of ONS and you've got the beginning, al, A-L-L. And then add the ending of the imperfect for je, which is A-I-S. Ta-da! So j'allais is correct. Petite, j'allais souvent voir ma grand-mère le week-end. Condi, well done. Alors, Palak, it's not suis allé. Because suis allé is the passé composé. We are doing the imparfait. Okay? So, hello. So, here we go. Now, let's have a look at finir now. I'm going to go and move on to finir. Let me get rid of this so it's clearer to you. Okay. Now, what is the second one? Vous ne. Finir is your infinitive. How do you conjugate finir in the imparfait? Jamais avant 18h. Okay. So, pukraj. Connor. Finissiez. Pukraj. Vous ne finissiez jamais avant 18h. Chris. Vous ne finissiez jamais. Daniela. Finissiez. Wosu Emmanuel. Vous ne finissiez jamais avant 18h. Emmanuel, I'm not sure whether we pronounce the N in your words. So N wosu or wosu? I'm not sure. And I'm sorry if I misspell or missay your name. Vous ne finissiez jamais. Chandra, finissiez. Palak, finissait. Ah, Palak, why did you say finissait? Look at that pronoun, okay? What is the ending for vous? Okay, finissiez. Okay, finissiez. I just finished the one in your course working on the A2. Cody, well, I hope that it's going well, and maybe that is could be within your range and your level. Okay. Wosu, c'est ça, I pronounce it right. Okay. So it is finissiez. And so we have the stem, finis. it's a second group verb, okay? And we need to add the right ending, which is IEZ for the imperfect. So, vous ne finissiez jamais. You never used to finish. So it's a use. Vous finissiez, you used to finish. You put the negation ne and jamais, which means never. Okay, so if you start a sentence with a pronoun and then ne, that means what's coming up is a negation. So you never used to finish before 6 p.m. So basically, you always used to work up to 6 p.m. Okay, so well done. Do you understand now what's happening? Yeah? Is there any pattern that follows in the present tense so it will be easy to understand and to remember that easily like in the past tense? Yes. Traveling the hell out. Yes, absolutely. There is definitely a pattern. And again, I'm not sure whether you are a client of ours, but if you are, we follow over the first 10 lessons how to conjugate, and 11 maybe. That's when we start getting into the swing of conjugating verbs. There is a pattern. There's a pattern for first group verbs, second group verbs. The third group verbs, I'm afraid it becomes a bit there is no pattern. Now, where there is no pattern, and I'm going to show it here, it's être, to be. And this is a question. Est-ce que tu, okay, timide plus jeune? So we want to say, were you, because it's in the past tense, yeah? Did you used to be timid when you were younger, more young, plus jeune? So, did you used to be younger? Oh, did you? Yeah, I used to be younger. Did you used to be shy when you were younger? So, how do you say you used to be in French? Candy était. Okay, Sumera était. Daniela était. Abdo était, absolutely. Connor était. And Pukraj, est-ce que tu étais timide plus jeune? Okay. I'm learning from Alliance Française, India, but it gets a bit... Oh, yeah, Palak. I understand why, because they have a program to follow. So if you followed my course... you will do it on your own pace, okay? And we cover pretty much everything that the Alliance Française does. That's my... Oh, by the way, dun, dun, dun. If you want the very first level, we are running an intensive class at Learn French with Alexa. As you know, we started doing master classes whereby you can actually practice your speaking with a teacher in group, and they have been really successful. So maybe Liam will give you, there you go, there is a link here for all the master classes we're running this term, as in the first quarter of the year. And I know that some classes are almost full. I think that the intensive level 1 has some places, so check it out if you want to do it intensive. Huh? It starts next week. Starts next week. Okay. Est-ce que tu étais timide plus jeune? Lacquer by Damola? Absolutely. So there you go. Here we go. So était is the right answer. So then people are going to say, well, I didn't know, because I didn't know what the stem was of être. You don't. This is one of the exceptions, okay? So what I would like you to do in order to maybe be more confident is learn the stem of very difficult, really difficult verbs such as être. The stem for être in the imperfect is et, et. And then you add your endings, était, étions, était. For example, for faire, to do or to make is fais, okay? For pouvoir, to be able to, is pouve, yeah? Vouloir, to want, is voul, etc. So I can make an Insta video on that actually, because it would be a very very useful video for you guys. Okay, let's have a look at the next one, and I think we'll finish that because I've got literally a lesson in 20 minutes with my exclusive member. And remember, you can be part of it either through my website or through the memberships, and you have access to everything. All past 250 lives, you have access to all the lessons, there are thousands. Uganda, my personal tutor is from Congo. Does his accent affect my learning of general French? No, it wouldn't. Actually, in Congo, they speak such an articulate way, way better actually than people in living in France. So I would say that it's never going to affect you. The Congolese accent, the French Congolese accent is spot on. So I don't think it will affect you. Where there may be a problem if you had a Canadian teacher, it's slightly different from the French accent, but again, you get used to it. And again, if you want to take the exam to immigrate to Canada, you must familiarize yourself with different accents. Congo is one of them, Canada is another one, French from France also is another one. Yeah, so it's a good question. Alors, mes sœurs et moi ne répondre jamais au téléphone. Okay. So we want to say my sisters and I. So my sister and I. Okay. And me. Okay. And here we've got ne jamais again. Never. Okay. And the verb is in RE, which makes me think it's in the third group. Okay. So répondre, to respond means to answer. Okay, so we want to say my sister and I never used to answer the phone. That's what it means. Okay, so this one is slightly tricky. So slightly tricky. Mes sœurs et moi ne. What is the stem for répondre? So je réponds, tu réponds, il répond, elle répond. On répond, nous répondons. So this one is easy, because it's the stem as this. Répondre. It doesn't change. So, répond. Ah, well done. Dion. Anera, Anéri, répondions. Daniela, répondions. Faria, répondions. Change my mind, répondait. Why, Kevin? Why did you change your mind? Why? Kevin, you were right the first time round. Okay, so répondions. And I understand, Kevin, why you have done that, because the actual subject is difficult. So we've got mes sœurs et moi. So if we put it here in the mes sœurs, okay, mes sœurs et moi, okay. If you were to replace that subject by a subject pronoun, when I mean subject pronoun, I mean I, tu, you, il, he, elle, she, on, one, nous, we, vous, you, and il and elle, which are both they. Okay? If you were to replace my sister and I, which of these pronouns do you replace it with? And this is where the difficulty is. Yeah, Kevin? Which one would it be? Yeah, it would be nous. Because it's my sister, but it's I as well. So it's us. Okay? It's not my sister and my brother. If it had been my sister and my brother, it would be them. They. Yeah? But it's my sister and I, so I'm part of it. And the ending, therefore, is I-O-N-S for the imperfect. So therefore, you take the stem of answer, répond, and you add I-O-N-S, and there you've got répondions. Okay? We used to answer, but in this case, it's in the here, okay, it's in the negation, so we didn't use to answer. Répondions. How is that? I always have this feeling, when I finish a lesson, oh God, have I confused them more? Or have I brought anything on the table for them? I'm hoping every time that you have learned a little bit of something. Okay. Would be great to have some more lessons on tricky pronouns, I and en. They are really confusing. Connor, I cover these in great length in my course and also on YouTube. I know that if you type I and en in the French section of in my Learn French with Alexa YouTube channel, you will see that I have covered this topic on these very pronouns. Okay. Je peux utiliser on et nous, n'est-ce pas? Wosu? Absolutely. I would like to take the conversation course. Do I go to website for information? Merci. Liam just is attached Learn French with Alexa speaking practice. They are called speaking practice. Yeah, there you go. Masterclass speaking practice. If you look at the different levels that we have, and they're fun. We've got a core of students that have been following us for a year now in level. It depends what level you are, but in a higher level, we are always looking for, having more people joining us. It's cool. And also, this is a special announcement. We are running the Aix-en-Provence Immersive Week away with me in September this year. It has not been announced yet, but last year was super successful. So we are doing it again. People loved it. So that's being done. You're the best teacher. Stay blessed. Oh, thank you, Samara. I will stay blessed. Can't wait to see your collab with Monsieur Vincent. Yes, sorry, we had to cancel with Vincent, but we are going to do it this year. That's it for me. Now join us in the next one for someone a little bit harder. I'm going to have to prepare myself mentally for that one. I see you soon. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bisous, bisous. Salut.